there's gotta be a reason why success isn't knocking at your door. You know that you have been working towards it for so long, and you've sacrificed a lot. You've done the right things, right? And it's supposed to be here, but it's still not. So what's going on there? In this episode today, we're going to dive into this topic, just trying to shed some light on the hidden things that are running in the background and that are preventing each and every one of us from getting success. Hello and welcome to the Artful Maestro Podcast. I'm your host, Nenad Leonart, a harpsichordist and historical organist who has found himself living in the 21st century. Now, in the last 4 years, I have been working tirelessly on my social media. I have reached over 70,000 subscribers on all my channels combined, and I have reached over 10 million people all across the globe with the music that I have been playing. I feel very privileged to having been able to have done that, and most of it is due to a tireless search of going out and trying out what works, what are the methods, learning this, learning that. And I've noticed that there's actually no one really helping classical musicians with this. You can find courses for, video creators, for photographers. You can find courses for marketers, for small businesses, but there aren't really courses focusing on classical musicians and their special needs, because we all know that we have very unique needs that are not necessarily met in other different industries. And this is where Artful Maestro comes into play. I created the Artful Maestro brand, where I'm coaching and helping and training classical musicians all around the world to go and grow their careers in a way that is applicable in the 21st century. Every one of us is unique. Everyone has their own special needs, what we have as perspectives, what we want to have happen in our own lives. Somebody wants a solo career. Somebody is looking to promote their ensemble. Somebody's just trying to write more of their music and have it recognized and sold all across the world. Well, everybody has their unique dreams, and I'm trying to put together all the knowledge that I've collected from myself, from other experts in the industry who have made it as well. We will have some very special guests coming up, and this is why we have Artful Maestro. If you want to keep in touch, there is an Artful Maestro Inner Circle community, which is free and that you can join by clicking in the link under this podcast. Now, to start with today's episode, it's why you keep pushing success away. What's going on there? And to start with, I want to read you a text that I read that a friend of mine wrote, and I thought, oh my God, this is so applicable. I actually read it yesterday. I said, this is so good that I want to do it as an introduction. Why you keep pushing success away? Well, for most people, failure feels easier than success. And it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It is because failure is familiar. Over time, we become comfortable with failure because it matches how we see ourselves deep down. Success, on the other hand, it feels foreign, it feels uncomfortable, and even threatening. And so that's why so many self-sabotage without even realizing it. You procrastinate, or you avoid the actions that lead to success. You cling to habits and environments that reinforce failure. And even when opportunities arise, you find ways to push them away. The truth is, part of you that's used to failure will always fight to keep things the same. It's not about laziness or it's not about lack of ambition. It's about the beliefs and unresolved emotions that you carry. Now, if you've experienced failure repeatedly, or if success wasn't something that you saw modeled, especially in your early life, you may have internalized ideas like, I don't deserve success, or success will only lead to disappointment, or I'm safer staying where I am. Now, these beliefs, they create an invisible prison and they keep you stuck. The way through isn't by forcing success or grinding harder, like what everybody actually tries to do. It's by identifying and letting go of what's keeping you stuck. So you want to reflect on your beliefs. What are you afraid that you will lose if you actually succeed? What part of you feels safer failing than succeeding? And finally, you want to address the root causes. Many of these beliefs are tied to past experiences and also unresolved emotions. So when you do let go of those, the self-sabotaging patterns start to dissolve. Success stops feeling so distant when you no longer see yourself as someone destined to fail. And imagine if success could feel as familiar as failure once did. Let go. Success is waiting for you on the other side. So that's the end of the text that my friend wrote. Thanks, Ronald, for this wonderful piece of thoughts. I enjoyed reading it, and I really thought, yeah, this is going to be extremely applicable. Now, I don't agree necessarily with all of that's inside, especially the end is kind of, success will stop feeling distant if you just only kind of wish for it to not be distant. And only thing you need to do is like let go and it's all going to be fine. It's a little bit more complicated than that, okay? And this is why I actually also coach people in the programs and where we kind of look at these things, because there's a lot of mechanisms put in place so these things don't happen overnight, right? It's our whole psyche, it's our whole being that is working tirelessly to keep us in a certain state of mind. And if you actually want to change that state of mind, the more you have practiced this other kind of being, the more you have to re-practice it. So it's a long process. It needs a clear roadmap on what to tweak where. And also sometimes you cannot just tweak at one thing that you think, oh, this is the issue. Because like in the systemic approach, you have many different kind of fields that are playing into this. So if you tweak it like one place, this other places change as well. And oftentimes you cannot go directly at the symptom, but that you have to look at the system as a whole. That's also why it comes from the systemic thinking, and that you have to look at all the parts involved and start tweaking and seeing what is actually working and what's not working. So that's also part of what I do with people when I work together with them. Let's look at this text again from the beginning and go a little bit deeper, because I think especially the start, what he says, there's so much truth in it. And I'm really curious if you can reflect onto your life and can say, yeah, this is true for me as well, that failure feels easier than success. there's this quote from Spider-Man, you surely know it, with great power comes great responsibility. And let's be honest, who wants to be responsible, right? I guess childhood, if we had a good childhood, was pretty fun because we didn't have any responsibilities. We could go out and play. You could do whatever, right? And there was nobody holding you accountable for the actions that you did, and it was just fun. And now we're all grown up, and everything's so serious, and everything's got to be done this way or that way, and there's so many rules. There's taxes. Oh my God, I have to file my taxes today. I'm not kidding. I really have to do that. And I really don't like doing that. But that's, I guess, part of being grown up, that we have to do things that we don't really enjoy doing, that we don't really like, and there's so much responsibility. So think about even having more success in your life, which means even more responsibility, because then you have something that you can ruin, that you can make a mistake and then you lose it, and then you're going to be stupid. Everybody's going to think, oh my God, look at you, you are stupid. How crazy is that? I have been talking to a good friend of mine who actually went through a political scandal, and she had a horrible shitstorm going on, like a really, really bad one, where it kind of ended her political career. She was thrown out, she was fired, she was like all the, let's say, good stuff that she had built all over the years, all the part of success. There was like one small scandal, one shitstorm, and all of that went away. And like the first thing that she thought to herself was, am I really this stupid to have this happen? Let that sink in. Like the first thought that we have when something like that happens, when we have success and then we ruin it, is, am I really this stupid? And again, nobody of us wants to feel stupid. So, success is for the others. Success is like for the ones who are cheating, and for the ones who are rich anyway, and they're stealing money from others, and they are inside of their own bubble. And you see where I'm going with this? With the projections, right? We kind of don't want to take the responsibility, or parts of us don't want to be responsible. And then we kind of project all the good stuff of success, we project it onto other people, but then we say that they are bad and they're successful because they're bad. So that's a tough cookie right there. I would advise to stay away from these types of thoughts and these types of feeling as much as possible, because it's not really helpful. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably wanting to succeed in life. So why don't you say goodbye to all the habits and all the patterns that you had in the past that prevented you from being successful? And one of those is going to be thinking badly of people that are successful, that they were only lucky, or that they had a lot of help that you didn't have, or that they didn't deserve it for this or that or whatever reason. I mean, let's just be honest. Who are you to decide who deserves what, right? Okay. Now that we're clear on that, failure is familiar, success is not. That's why we keep staying in failure. And this is a very interesting mechanism of emotions. You've probably heard of a thing called future pacing, or of manifesting, or you've heard of things like fake it till you make it. Then there's like a newer type of form where it's not fake it till you make it, but like believe it till you're there. So there's different kinds of descriptions for a process that I would say is described as thinking already in the future that you have achieved your success, like the one thing that you wanted to have, and then tuning in your emotions to where you are in the future, like you already achieved that success. what this does is you are not stuck in failure anymore, because you are not feeling the feelings of failure, but you are actually already feeling the feelings of success. So this is kind of the first step to like short circuit this type of thinking that we have, because you know that whatever you think, whatever type of thinking we have, we are kind of staying stuck in that type of thinking. So what you want to do is actually get out of that type of thinking and get into a new type of thinking, so also the actions can follow, like everything in your life that you do and your behavior, your habits are going to adapt to the new way of thinking and a feeling that you have. And that is probably even better why you don't want to call it fake it till you make it, but actually believe it and live it. Like, do feel this exact emotional cocktail in you by visualizing that you are already there, how it must feel like, and then you are going to project this type of feelings to people, and they're going to kind of notice you if they are looking for someone to provide that opportunity to, and you are fitting exactly the type of person that this opportunity can be given to, then you're great. If you keep staying in the failure mentality of like, I need to do this and this and this and this and this for this to happen, then it's never going to happen, because people are also going to feel that, they're going to sense that, and they're going to be, okay, so this person isn't already there, right? So one of the first things that I do with my clients is get into action. Whatever it is, we're not just doing it mentally, but we're also putting it into action. Wherever you are, whatever you do, there are small steps that you can start to change your life to be already like you are successful. Now, what's that going to do? It's going to trigger the shit out of you. It's really going to be super triggering, as we have heard in this text, because there's so many mechanisms inside of us that are built to keep us in place of the cozy failure, which is comfortable. So let's look at this. Procrastinating or avoiding actions that lead to success. Oh my God, how much I have been doing this, and I'm still doing it today. There's so many things that I know, okay, this is one of the most important things that I can do, and I don't do it. I don't do it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I forgot it. Okay, but I'm too tired today, or this is going to be like a huge, email, which I need to write to 3 or 4 people. I cannot do it today. Okay, so let's do it tomorrow. And tomorrow is the same thing. And the day after, it's the same thing. And I procrastinate for certain things for weeks. And all of us do. It's just because we are not aware, or we are not ready to go there and to be there and to do that. Okay? Procrastinating or avoiding actions. Maybe we know what the action is, but we don't want to take it, or maybe we don't even yet know what the action is, and we don't even want to think about what that action could be to put us to the next step. Think about that, and if you see it happening somewhere, maybe you want to talk to a loved one, maybe you want to talk to a friend, or maybe you want to go and get yourself a coach who's actually going to push you to do the right thing at the right time. I am being coached myself as well. Like for the last 2.5 years, I've been continuously being coached, and I still try to do it today, because I know it's going to be much, much easier to have to talk to someone who is going to give me a unbiased, reflected opinion of what I'm doing and help me get to the next level. It's just really like a mirror, but that I take time for myself to talk to my mirror, and that I take time out of my day to put these ideas and actions in place where I want to go with it. Clinging to habits and environments that reinforce failure is another one. And this has been a big one. Probably, if you have ever had a major change in your life, you have noticed that your friends changed as well. I went through a couple major changes in my life. And every time that I went from A to B, or from B to C, or from C to D, kind of all my friends, all my social circle, everything changed. People that I used to hang out with a lot, they kind of faded away. And sometimes I would start spending time with people that before I didn't think that they were valuable to me or interesting to me. And then it kind of turned around. And it's a very interesting process to see like how our values change over the years and how our opinion can change over the years, but also like the environment. And what's happening with many people as well, especially the ones that are very social people and that their social circle is important to them, they are actually being stuck in the social circle because they can't leave, but it also means that they cannot change, because changing internally would mean maybe not even fitting into that social circle anymore. And that is awakening kind of very hard, harsh, bad feelings inside of them of abandonment, of being left out and kind of kicked out of the group, which, let's say in evolutionary terms, if this happened like 20,000 years ago, if you got kicked out of a group, kind of means certain death, because you are, as a human, in prehistoric times, you're kind of not made to live alone. We need our communities, we need our societies where everybody's taking in different roles and different tasks to really function. So we have like these tribes going on, right? You can see tribes everywhere. You can see them like countries playing sports matches against each other. You can see that in wars, one nation against another nation. You can see it in identifications with certain types of, you can even call it like class thinking, you know, one class against another class. So there's a lot of tribal psychology going on in us humans. And in very many cases, when we identify with a tribe, when we feel like we need to be in this tribe, we do feel that we need to be in there, otherwise it's going to cost us our lives. It's kind of going to be very, very difficult to leave that tribe. And you want to understand that in today's times, it's not really life-threatening. If you leave a tribe, it's just going to mean that you will find a new one once that you are at the other stage. So one of the nice techniques that also people use if they want to grow is find someone who is at the next level, where you want to be, and start hanging out with them. Start seeing how they think, how they feel, what their thought processes are, what their decisions are, how they actually came to where they are right now. And I'm doing that all the time. I'm always trying to find the most valuable people who are where I want to be, and then spend as much time with them as I can, see how they function, see how they work, and what I can take away to actually better my life. Right now, I noticed this was more by chance that I got to meet a guy who is having his business set up in a very similar manner where I want to be in future. And I think that is very, very interesting for me. And right now I'm trying to brainstorm ideas. How can I get him to spend more time with me by providing different services to him, by helping out with video recordings. I want to go and invite him to dinner. I just want to pick his brains as much as I can and hang around him so I can see how he's actually doing the work, how he's managing his team, how he's set up all his business, how he's going all around the world, doing his presentations and being an expert in the field where he's at. And I want to know that. I want to learn that. And that's why I think it's so interesting for me to hang out with somebody like him. So I can just get a feel of his world. And again, that will mean like hanging out with some people out of my social circle less. And it could very well mean that I say, not directly goodbye, but that I just kind of fuse into a new social circle through that. And also there's a part about opportunities. There's a part about when you have a certain opportunity come up for you and you say like, oh my God, this is so great. But then there's like this part of fear inside of you that you don't take the opportunity and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm ready. Maybe let's try next year, or maybe, something like that. And there's like this feeling in the back of your head, or like maybe in the belly, where of inadequacy, or maybe a little bit of fear, or maybe like, oh, I don't really want to be putting myself out there in this way. And that's completely fine. Just know that by doing that, you're staying in the comfort of failure, and you are not actually going out, facing the fear and trying to create something that is going to lead you to success. All of it is fine, like regardless, whatever side you choose, just the difference is now you are aware of the consequences of your action. So not doing something also has consequences. Usually when we don't do anything, and this is very interesting, especially with opportunities, if you don't take an opportunity, if you don't go anywhere, we feel like nothing's going to change, so everything's going to be fine still, right? Only it isn't like that. In life, if you are not evolving, if you're not moving further, you're actually moving backward. Even if you feel like you're staying the same, you are actually moving backward because everything else is moving forward. And by sticking in the same place, there are certain mechanisms in our body and in our brain that are happening that are kind of degenerating faster everything. So we are made to evolve. We are made to get into new situations, be challenged by them, and grow with them. So just be aware that whatever decision you take on whatever opportunity comes along your way, it's going to have consequences. Even if you think like, okay, I'm not going to do that, so there's going to be no consequences, right? There is going to be some, and you will be aware of them sooner or later. So there's the beliefs that I don't deserve success. Success will only lead to disappointment, and I'm safer staying where I am. Think about these. Think about these, why they would be there, and why would you ever want to have your life dictated by these beliefs? Why would you ever want to live a life where you feel like you're not deserving of success? Like thinking at the very end of your life, on your deathbed, looking back and seeing what you have accomplished. What do you want to have accomplished? What is the thing that you want to have like as a legacy of your life? And maybe just close your eyes for a second and think about that. Like being on my deathbed, what is the thing that I want to leave with? What is the thing that I want to leave in this world? What are the things that I have done and contributed? If you need a little bit more time, you can now pause the podcast. And when you have thought about what you want to leave in this world and what you want to leave the world with, you will see that there's actually no place for beliefs like I don't deserve success, that it will lead only to disappointment, and that you are safer staying where you are. Because none of these are true. That is not your true authentic self talking. That is a very scared, fearful part inside of you talking that is trying to manage the show. But you, by looking back at your life from like a bird's eye perspective, you know that that's not what you came here to do. And you know that these are just beliefs and that you can work with them. So start working with them. When you reflect on them and check out what you are afraid of and what you think that you will lose if you actually succeed, it's much easier for you to find the direct roadmap to success. You can also try and identify this part. We actually talked about this in another episode where we talked about parts theory and different parts being inside of us, that you can actually find this part of you that is trying to prevent you and to talk with it and go ahead and see what it's actually up to and how you can make a deal with it to succeed and still get its needs met. That's going to be pretty cool if you manage to do that. And once you do all these things, once you have a clear roadmap where you want to go, when you get to know yourself, and maybe even have somebody at your side who's helping you with it, because usually these mechanisms are so ingrained that it's sometimes tough to do it all on your own. Then it's going to be easy, smooth sailing from there on, because you're going to have build up new habits. You've got to have new actions and a new outlook at life. By the way, if you really don't want to do that alone, I highly suggest you go and join the Artful Maestro Inner Circle. That's the community that you can join without paying, and that you can meet other musicians who are also willing to grow and invest in themselves. And we are all on the same path. We all are trying to be successful. We all are trying to get better at what we do. We all are trying to provide as much value as we can to the world. And it's going to be much easier if you start hanging out with these people who want to do the same thing as you do, and you can start creating a new identity. You can start picking their brains on what they are doing, how they are actually maybe already successful in certain parts of life where you aren't, and vice versa, that you have some stuff handled that they don't have, and you can start benefiting from each other just by hanging out and exchanging these ideas. So make sure to go and find the link below and join the Artful Maestro community for free so you can start your growth today. Yeah, actually, why don't you just fire the part of you that's preventing your success? Just go there and say, from today you're fired. We are going to go be successful. And this is the way that I'm taking from now on. Once you let go of these things that aren't really useful to you, real change and real growth is going to happen. I hope that you took away some pretty cool lessons out of today's episode. If you have, and if you've enjoyed something particularly, or you have something to add or a thought that maybe popped into your head, do let me know in the comments or shoot me an email. I go through all of these. I'm not always able to answer, but please do let me know what was important for you. This also helps me create better content and be more efficient in future. And last but not least, our main sponsor, Artful Shop, is a place where you can go and buy great gifts for musicians. They're actually good looking, meaningful, and useful. So go to Artful Shop if you want to get something for a musician friend that you know, or even yourself. And with the code Artful5, you actually get a 5% discount in checkout. Okay. I hope you had a great time. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.